4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, a show where we interview industry leaders and disruptors, revealing the success secrets to create and unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Now your hosts, Thaddeus and Evan.
Revealed with Thaddeus and Evan, where we have good conversation with good people, and any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk. Cheers. Angie Ryan, thanks for coming on the show. Oh, water there, sorry. We are live at the AHR Expo in lovely Atlanta with Ryan and Angie from, you guys have the HVAC business, and the name is escaping me at this present moment in time.
It is Western Heating and Air.
Western Heating and Air, perfect. And also the principles of Snow Business Coaching. So happy to be on the show. I know that I've seen you in the circuit for a long time. We met each other down at the Women in HVAC event in Phoenix. I'm like, all right, we got to get these guys on the show because I think you guys have a wealth of knowledge to bring. So thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having us. Super excited.
Yeah, no worries. Well, tell us a little about you guys yourselves.
Our house.
No, tell them about yourself. Sorry, my language wasn't that great today.
House. Well, it's brick, rocks.
How many rooms? How many bathrooms?
Grateful Beyond, Ryan and Angie, we are from Utah. We have a company there. We purchased it back in 2007, which was the best year to buy a business.
Why's that?
Because 2008 we got hit with the recession. So if you can weather a recession the first couple of years, then you got to make it, right?
I agree.
We learned a lot.
Right?
Yeah, so I got in the trade in 1997. Started out as a duct cleaner and started working my way up through there. And I was a general manager for Service Experts for a little while out in California. We wanted to try to come back home to Utah, and we knew the owners of Western, and we were able to work out a deal. Bought their company. There was 4 employees at the time. The second best sales pitch of my life, I gave to Angie to join back in on coming in on this crazy idea of buying a company. She was a school teacher before that.
Wow, that was literally my next question. Like, how much experience did you guys have running the heating and air business?
I had 0. Well, I did teach second grade, so that's kind of like a team of tech.
More or less, yeah.
I used a lot of those principles, positive reinforcement, accountability, classroom management techniques. It was fun.
Yeah, so that led us to where we're at today. So we have about 41 employees at Western Heating and Air, and then Angie and I we do consulting and coaching on the side with Snow Business Coaching. So
so fun story. We've just it's been fun because, like I said, when we joined, we did go through that recession. There were a few scary years. We thought we were just going to shut the doors. We thought we were going to be done, and to be able to weather that and do a lot of things together as partners and be able to join with other successful coaches, alliance groups to help us, that was huge.
Nice. Well, I mean, coming up, coming up on another looming recession. I mean, everybody's talking about it. Having weathered that first one in 2009. How are you guys positioning your business to be able to weather this one? And on top of that, if somebody has never had to weather a recession before, what sort of advice would you give them?
Gosh, so this one's quite a bit different than the one in a way. We weren't dealing with hyperinflation back then like we are right now. So I think probably the biggest problem that we have is costs grew so fast, 30%. Wages didn't, so consumer confidence is really, really low right now. We just don't have a lot of money. So I think if you're trying to figure it out at this point, you're too late, but you'll be ready for the next one. So probably the biggest advice I would say is, you really got to nurture that customer base. And right now we're surviving on tune-ups. Tune-ups get us in the door, we're able to do our thing, and a lot of good things come out of that. So, we're right where we need to be. But yeah, it's a lot. If we think, well, hey, I'll just, run all these big offers, trying to sell equipment, it's a really, really tough gig right now. people aren't buying equipment. You gotta take it through that process.
Well, and that's exactly right. You have to change the way that you approach your business, right? A lot of people are, and the guys, I think the ones that have the big install presence, they're install, and only install, 95% of their revenue comes from install, are going to be in for a roll of hurt if they don't pivot to more of the repair work, right? Because consumers are looking, okay, well, am I going to put in a $15,000, $20,000, $10,000 system, or can I get by with a $500 to $1,000 repair until next year?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing even at service time. We're seeing data showing just the repair service calls are going up, installs are going down, just the sheer number of those types of calls. So, and that could be seasonality too, but we usually see them stay, at a higher rate. And so consumers are opting to repair more than they are to install right now. So you got to be ready for that.
So if you have, you're a business and you have 95% of your business is install, how do you pivot to more repair work?
Gee, so yeah, that's a tough transition to do on a dime. So if you start looking at it and you've been around for a little while, you'll probably be okay because your customer base is your key. You really need to start touching those clients. Software, automation, all that stuff's come so far, it makes it a lot easier to reach out to that client, and you're just, again, it just starts with a tune-up. People are willing to buy tune-ups all day long. Sure, come in here and let's keep this thing running as long as we can. And that's the key. So once you get in there and you start building that, you start selling clubs and you start building that customer base, the service repair follows along with it because right now, we're all competing for that service work. So if somebody gets on Google and they say, hey, furnace repair, we're all bidding on that, and it's tough to get in there. You've got to have a big budget to go after it, and so there are some quick ways that you can do it, PPC, things like that will help a little bit, but it's a tough market again. It's kind of like the same thing going after new equipment install.
Yeah, so it just comes down to just nurturing that customer relationship. Whoever's on your, whoever your customer base is, you're touching, touch points with them constantly. Through email, direct mail. Our team does a lot of outbound texting, phone calls. In fact, that's been a huge lead source for us over the last few months is just our outbound calls to be able to keep the board full with our current customers.
Are all your calls, like your outbound calling, is that all in-house or do you guys hire, you have outsourced that? Yeah?
We're doing it in-house right now.
Through the CSRs?
And there are a lot of great outsourced calls, companies that you can source to do that for you, but for us, this is just something we really train our team to do, and they do it well, so as well have them do it. Keep them busy.
I also like how you mentioned texting, and I think it's very underutilized. You look at the millennial generation, it's kind of like, I'm a millennial, I only by birth here.
You don't look it anymore.
I don't look it anymore, but hey, I still look better than Josh Crouch, actually. That's just Turch. That's just Turch here. I was hoping Josh, he is here too, so yeah.
Oh, man.
Fun fact, I am actually older than him, but he looks older than me. But you mentioned texting, and I think texting is a very powerful way to be able to move the needle these days, because you look at the people that are buying houses now, or even like just the rapid change in technology, people would rather book something via text message, right?
Yes.
So how are you guys leveraging text messages within the business, specifically for these tune-ups?
So we use ServiceTitan for our CRM, and we're able to simply, easily pull reports, put a chat out, and it comes right from us, so they see that. So we're using the ServiceTitan platform to chat with our customers. Of course, we have the web chat set up on our website too. So it's super easy, but you make a really good point there. I'm speaking tomorrow at AHR on how to run a successful call center. Some of the trends we're seeing, even with AI, and how smart dispatching can come into play here. And one of the things that the most successful call centers are doing is they're meeting their customers where they are. Omnichannels, right? Wherever your customers are, they're going to book with you if it's easy. So make it easy. Let them book with you on your website, on your social media accounts, texting, Facebook, everywhere. It should be super easy to book with you. If it's hard, if they have to take a few steps, they'll go find another one. So
100%.
Keep it easy and be where they are.
Well, as a business, who are you to dictate how it is that a customer should be communicating with you?
Right.
It's your job to be available to them.
Exactly.
Right? I'm curious, how are you working with your CSR teams? I think this is something that isn't talked about enough, is CSR training. Because everyone talks about sales training. We pay big sales trainers to come out, go sell more equipment. How do we increase our average ticket? How do we increase our closing ratio? Not enough effort is put on the CSR side. So what is it that you're doing to work with your CSRs to improve those numbers and help them continue to get better?
This was a big question for us a few years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago. We really wanted to empower our CSRs and help them realize that what they were doing was more than just answering the phone, right? They are the voice of the company. They are that first cog in the wheel to get the business going. And so I worked with a few different CSR coaching companies, and I was like, you know what, I know what our customers need, so I built a program called our 7-Star CSR program, and it's 7 steps to helping your CSRs book more calls. The first one is to build a relationship with trust. It's like that. And there's a lot of parts that come into building trust, right? Like trust is such a big word. But if they don't trust you, why are they going to do business with you? So,
well, and a lot of people that are calling that first call, that's exactly what they're feeling.
Right? Like they need to feel like you care about them. They need to feel like they're important. So like even the greeting is huge. You've got to have the greeting down so that they feel like you care about them and you're so glad that they called and that you're sincere and you're not just this monotone, thanks for calling, you know what I mean? So we took those 7 steps, we created a training program, we certified all of our CSRs in it. There's a scorecard, so we grade their calls every week, we keep them accountable. We find where they're weak, and then that's where we train them and we help them get better. And so it's been fun. We've done a lot of CSR classes now. I've trained hundreds of CSRs on this program, and it's awesome.
Well, and it's like Evan said it too, right? It often goes unnoticed, right? I mean, but the other part of it is when you look at your CSR trainings, when the last time you've done a desk along, right? Not just a ride along, but you do a desk along, and that actually came from TJ Hartnett. And I can't even take credit for that one, but doing a desk along with your CSRs. And walking through that, having that conversation, but also, when was the last time you mystery shopped your own business, right? How was when you called in, how were your team, or having a friend call in on speakerphone and do that, right? Like, those are some good things that you're going to get back, right? I do want to caution people when you answer the phone, the worst question that you can say is, oh, how did you hear about us? I'm like, no, my AC's broken. I don't care about your marketing, right?
You can ask that if it's the very last question and everything else has already been answered. They have nothing else, that you've helped them, they're happy, then you can ask that. But that's not the first thing. No.
We had Michael Torbay on from Wizard of Ads, and he went off on that for like 5 minutes, and it's one of my favorite clips I think that we've had because he just got so passionate and fired up behind it. One of the things I gotta shamelessly plug Chirp because you guys mentioned the web chat widget. So Chirp is awesome. So there's actually a link for Chirp. So if you ever want to check out their web chat widget, their text automation.
I'm glad you said that. We just launched with them today. Our first text just went out this week. So my
Did you use our link to get 25% off for your first 3 months?
Yes, we did.
Perfect.
We totally did. And you know what? Yes, they are. We're super excited. Their team's awesome to work with.
Yeah.
Ryan and his crew, they really know what's going on. So I cannot wait to see the difference because now I'm going to have these texts going out. We're going to do some follow-up calls, the ringless voicemail drops.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to take some time.
Right, and actually, it's funny that he's here. Josh made a post the other day about what can you do in the slow season right now, and one of it was that what you guys are doing is reaching out automation. So what are some of the structure of a campaign that you're running for something like this?
This month's tough, right? February up in Utah, you're almost at the end of the heating season. It's too cold for the air conditioning season right now, so we had to get pretty creative on it, and we Right now, it's just a discount on a furnace tune-up. End of the season, furnace tune-up. You didn't miss the bowl. Let us get it tuned up. Moving into March, we'll start a BOGO offer. This is one of our anchors. So buy the furnace tune-up. We'll do the AC for free. So it keeps our guys super busy. It's an awesome thing to do through March. But yeah, February's tough. So if they can pull results for us, Church is going to be awesome. I love how automated it is. It's going to go out. It's going to save us a bunch of time. And we'll get results off of it. February is just a tough month. So that's a big one that we're doing. We've talked about an IQ package, sort of an offer that way of buy this Remy Halo for full price. We're doing duct cleaning for half off, something along those lines. So, but right now it's just back right into the first week.
going right out to our customers, asking them to pick up.
One of the things that's pretty evident is it seems like you're very passionate about, one, getting creative on offers, and two, the customer experience and making sure that you're controlling that all the way through the process. So talk about that transition now from CSR, what's next for the customer? What's the next thing that you're paying attention to in terms of how do we get the tech in front of them and set up the best way possible?
So it does start with the CSR, right? And they've provided us an amazing experience. They're awesome with the customer on the phone. They get the customer excited to do business with us. You know, it's kind of like when you go to a movie and you're like, you love the movie and you want to tell all your friends about it and to just describe, like, it was so awesome, it was adventure, and it was this part. And you want your CSRs to be able to talk about, like, you are going to love this service call. It is amazing. The techs that are coming out, they're going to take care of your home. They're going to put on shoe coverings. They're going to talk to you. They're going to offer options. They're going to listen. And so if my CSR is promising that, we have to deliver. And so that's why we have a very similar training for all of our technicians. It's almost like the 7-star customer experience training for the technicians. So they have to follow through.
Yep. We narrowed that down to a 4-step process for our technicians. So and it's the same thing. They're all trained on it. We talk about it every single week in our meetings, just a little piece of it. But to just simplify it just a little bit, 4 steps. Right, again, back to build a relationship and trust. The CSR did a good job. It's a whole different world when your technicians walking through the door. So we got to maintain that trust process. We set the expectations with that homeowner, let them know what we're going to be doing. We go through our findings as the 3rd step, so this is where we really pull out the tools, the team, go through everything with that homeowner. And then the 4th one is just close it all up. You know, what does that homeowner want us to do? They want us to repair, we're going to tune up, are we turning a lead on this one? They want more options. But that has been huge for us. We did all this at the same time. We came out with all these things. Because consistency was our buzzword then. We really had to find a way to manage that all the way through the phone call to the end product, and that's what it is. So we call it our CCE certification. It's Certified Comfort Expert is what that stands for, and that's the process for the field employees to learn. And that's our sales team. They have a version of it. Our service team and maintenance, they're similar, but there are some differences there. And then our install team also has their version of that training as well. So it's been huge.
Are you excited to use the rehash within Chart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Have you been doing all manual rehash too? Just making phone calls?
We have been doing manual rehash, which has been, you know, our team's good at it, but I'm so excited to automate this.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, and the other part that I like about Chirp is it's direct integration to House Call Pro, Search Titan. I know that they're working with Sarah. They have Jobbers, so they've got some of the big ones out there to be able to just. I know when we looked at some of our programs for some of our clients, and you got to connect it to Zapier, and then you got to connect it to the system. If something breaks, it's just annoying. But having that direct drop-down menu, this happens. I want this to happen. It's so seamless. One of the things you mentioned was AI and smart dispatching.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. Let's unpack that.
This is exciting. Well, this is something that Service Titan is using in beta right now, and just for the listeners who don't know, I also am a principal industry advisor there, and so I get in on some of these fun beta projects, and I get to learn a little bit about them, and also kind of share some of my concerns, which, you know, someone who is, as I already told you, very protective of our call booking process. This is something I get a little bit nervous about. I'm turning over dispatching to AI. Do I dare do that? Will they be able to match the right technician to the call? And, you know, but this is what we're seeing with some of the people that have been using it. They are seeing calls because Service Titan can track the KPIs. We've got scorecards for all the techs, right? So I know who has a higher closing percentage. I know who has higher service, you know, average tickets. You can see who's hot at the time. And so AI is learning that, and they're following that. And so they're watching for those high opportunity calls to come in, and they're giving them automatically to the techs that are going to close. I was just talking to a company a couple weeks ago who's one of our beta clients on this, and they said, we came in and we looked at the dispatch board, and there was one technician who had no calls for the day. And we were like, oh no, smart dispatch is messing this up, what's going on? But then when they started looking in it, they were like, oh my gosh, he went 0 for 3 the day before on closing leads. His average ticket's down, and it identified an opportunity for them to do some coaching with that technician, which, you know, it takes the whole human element out of it. You know, when you have a dispatcher that's like, you know, they think they know who's on top of it, but they're not in the technician KPIs. Like, they cannot compute that as fast as AI can. And so that's something I'm really excited about. And so it's just like, trust the process, but as you see the process unfolding, it's really putting those high opportunity jobs on those high performing technicians, which is exciting to me.
It's huge. As a manager or business owner, I look back at our winter, and you know, our CSRs, our dispatchers, they're some of the nicest people on the planet. That's one of their strengths, right? They have to have that empathy when that homeowner's calling in. But as a technician, if we keep feeding our best opportunities to our worst performing technicians, that's rough, right? That really takes us out of the equation of being able to turn leads and sell that, and then our installers don't have work to do if we don't follow that process. So it is pretty cool what this does. It eliminates the, gosh, I feel bad for this technician. He's such a good guy. I'm going to give him this 20-year-old piece of equipment, and we'll see what happens. And I know the service manager knows they're not going to do anything with that. They're going to fix it, and they're going to go on to the next one. And maybe that's the right thing to do, but we didn't give the homeowner their option of you know, should we repair, should we replace, what should we do this and this thing. And so being able to take that emotion out of it is huge, because now we look at it more of like, okay, we have one opportunity on the board. Whatever we got to do, we got to give it to this technician. If we give it to this guy, good things are going to happen, and then we have work for our installers to do tomorrow. If we don't, we're going to miss it. And we've had plenty of that this last winter. We kind of got off track of you know, who's really performing and who's not, and this just makes it so much easier to manage that. So yeah,
getting the right person at the right call is the main goal, right?
Yeah,
that's huge.
Well, and removing that human element, right? That's the other part. Like, we're all human. We all have individual bias, right? It's real. So you just have to, now you have that eliminated, but be able to spin it in a way that's positive for that tech.
Right.
That's the other part. It's just like, hey, it's not a bad thing. Hey, we're gonna do coaching, right? It's just like our business. We just rolled out an accountability policy, aka a discipline policy. But we're calling it an accountability policy because that's really what it is. It allows us to identify weaknesses. If these errors are happening across the board with all of our employees, well, guess what? That's on us to not be able to adequately train them. And so it gives us the power to be able to adjust.
Yeah, I love it when you can make it objective like that. So it's like, these are the objects, we're getting the points, and the AI can do that for us. So it's like, that wasn't me, that was, you know, we've just identified an opportunity. So yeah, I love the positive spin. Let's help you get there.
I think it really forces the manager's hand to have that conversation, in order to talk to that technician. Where right now we look at it and we say, well, let's just keep giving it to him. He's a good guy. He'll figure it out. Where when it shuts it off, and then that technician comes in and says, hey, why am I not getting these opportunity calls anymore? Well, now we got to have that conversation, right? Well, you fell below the line. You're just not producing what we need you to. So let's talk about that. What can we do to help you? As an owner, you want, if you have 10 technicians, you don't really want there to be any discrepancy with what they're doing. You want all of them to crush it every time when they go out there. How easy would that make your job? But they don't. We all have our highs, we all have our lows, and it's just an opportunity to go through the work.
Makes sense to me. Random question generator?
All right. Random question generator brought to you by us on purposemedia.ca.
So this is a part of the show that we always do. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything that we've been talking about. We pulled one question for today.
Alrighty.
What is something that you never can seem to finish? This can be business related or personal.
I can never get my inbox to zero. My email box is the death of me.
I can clean my desk. I get close, but I can just not quite finish that thing out. So that would be my top
But
one.
you know where everything is on
I
the
do.
desk.
Yeah, I do.
That was like my dad's office was like a disaster. I'm just like he just never cleaned it. I'm like, how do you know where stuff is? Like, I know where everything is. I'm like, great, find me this. And he's like, there you go. I'm like, all right.
Everything has a home. It just looks messy.
Right, exactly. So that's the same with my desk. I have my one little stack of things that I know what's there. It's just
It's
a
in the
stack of things that's always there. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So, having bought a business in 2007, I'm sure you guys have came across some failures within your business as well. Walk us through some of your biggest failures and what you learned from them.
I'm going to say not firing fast enough. You hire somebody, you start seeing some of the red flags, but you're like, okay, well, we can help them, we can coach them, we can get them through this. But there were some hires that I wish I would have, some people I wish I would have fired faster because it just really set us back a lot. Some in the office, I don't know on the tech side, but I think that goes back to that level of accountability we were talking about before, and just holding our team to a higher standard of accountability instead of letting little things go in hopes that they would change. Just having that belief in them. You can believe in people, that's a good thing, and you should believe in your team. But when you start seeing the signs, and if you don't hold them accountable, if you let them keep doing that, then your culture becomes what you tolerate, and it makes your culture kind of toxic. So that was a mistake, and I think we've gotten a lot better at that.
Yeah, I would say for me, Angie and I probably didn't identify our roles very soon enough when we started or when we purchased our business. So Angie has a master's degree in mathematics. Clearly, she's a numbers person, right?
Good thing.
Good thing. My background, because I understood the trade so well, when we started, it's just like, I'll take care of the field operations, that was fine, and I'll do the marketing. And Angie was taking care of the office, and she was doing our financials for us. Angie hates accounting and financial numbers.
I tried. I learned. I did good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I didn't love it.
I think it takes a special breed to be an accountant.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I mean that in a bad way. And accountants listening.
Yeah. I hear you.
I just didn't love it. It didn't excite me or engage me or motivate me.
No, it's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But I hated marketing. I wasn't good at it. And we probably fought that for about a year and a half.
A couple of years.
And I remember I sent this postcard
It's
out,
horrible.
and
The worst thing I've ever seen.
completely fell.
It was a cow.
I got
in a
one.
field, like with a close-up cow, like when the nose is like right up to the front.
It said, "Holy cow, springs."
It's time for a
or
tune-up.
something
Holy
like
cow.
That's hilarious. I think that would be great.
It bombed. I think we spent like the last of our marketing budget, like the last ditch effort, right, to trying to recover from this recession. We sent this postcard out and
It was
it bombed. I think we got 2 calls.
Yeah, it wasn't good. We were sold nothing off of this thing, and so defeated, we sat down and we had a conversation. I said, "Hey, what do you think about taking over marketing for us?" And she was like, "Yes, please get out of my way and let me do this." And I love the numbers. I'm not an accountant, but I love the numbers, right? So for me to dive into the financial side of our business, that was a really big thing for us. When we made that transition, we really took off. We had a much better clarity. We knew where we were going. She was finding us work. I was able to sort through the numbers and say, okay, we're making money, we're not making money, we can change this, we can do that. And so, as a husband and wife team, those are some interesting conversations to have as you're trying to build this business together, but then also you got to go home and you got to be husband and wife, you got to take care of your kids and all those fun things as well. So, but that was probably a big one for me that happened not too late into our ownership. So
that's fair. And I do want to get into the marketing side of things, but I also want to talk a little bit about the husband and wife team, the office. And I always love these conversations because when I asked my wife and I shared an office in our house. We're completely different businesses though, so it was nice. But I don't think I would be able to work with my wife in the same business. Not every couple can. What are some strategies that you guys have implemented in your relationship on the personal side, not the business side, the personal side, that has allowed you guys to have both success in business and at home?
So I think that's number one right there is just trying to find that split. You will never not be able to take work home. It's just impossible. So what we determined is that, okay, we'll have one spot in our house. For us, it was in the kitchen. That's where we could talk shop for 10, 15 minutes, whatever we had to finish up, and then we had to stop. So it was just, okay, what's the most important thing that we didn't get to cover at work that we're going to do here now? And let's talk about that, and then we're done. And we were pretty good about that. I think that helped us out a whole bunch, being able to then focus on, okay, I'm going to go be dad, I'm going to go take care of kids, let's go have some fun. and Angie could be mom. And that was really important to us. From the beginning, we were never going to let this business ruin our relationship with each other or our kids. So we could have grown faster. You know, there was plenty of hours we could have put into the business, but we didn't. We put them in at home, and I'm glad we did.
You know, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it, that, and somebody else, there's a post that I read the other night about somebody who's talking about, you know, the grind time of working hard, long hours. You know what? Yeah, you know, you can. You absolutely can.
Yep.
But would you rather be, a businessman with a family or a family with a business?
Yep.
Right? So a family man with a business. And so, like, I was like with that too. It's like, great. Why don't you actually cherish the time?
Yeah.
Especially when your kids are young. Like, you said it to me before too. And we had Ben Poole from HVAC Tactical on. We ended up in Phoenix. We were like, all right, 20-minute episodes, like 45 minutes, because we were talking about this concept of kids. Like, you spend 90% of your time with your kids before they're 18. The thing about how much more of that 90% is before they're like 5 or 10, when they're off going out with friends, right? So taking that family time, you only get it once.
It's true.
So you might as well cherish it.
Yeah. It's been, it's no regrets, right? You'll never regret spending the time with your family, and it's been something we cherish.
Well, and even something that you and I were chatting about last night at the HVAC Tactical Awards was, you know, the size of your business and where you guys are at, and you're like, we're happy where we're at. We don't necessarily want to be the $15 to $20 million per year business, you know. We're okay. We're comfortable. We're small, medium-sized business, and we're good there.
Yeah.
And that's a good message that I think a lot more people need to hear is that, hey, it doesn't matter what other people are doing in business. You do you. You run your own race. If you're happy being a chuck in a truck, great, stay trucking a truck, right? If you're happy being a $2 million per year business, great, be a $2 million per year business, but be happy in doing it.
Yes. Identify those goals. What's important to you? And for us, it was like more important to be profitable than to grow. Like, are we profitable every year? I mean, if you can be profitable and grow, great. But with growing is going to come growing pains and changes, and there's just different seasons and times in your life, right? And so I think we may have mentioned this to you last night. We're getting ready to roll out our plumbing division. This is something we wanted to do for years, but we're finally like, okay, we're at a place where we can do this now. We're excited to. So, you know, just because you run your business one way for a period of time doesn't mean you can't change and do it and alter that as you have different seasons in your life. So we are looking forward to some additional growth over the next 2 years. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Well, and that's also a good thing to know too. Like, we've heard it before from others, like, don't just add a service line because you want to add a service line.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that your own house is in order. Can you afford it? It's going to be a lot of money, right? You have to put the outlay in to get the plumbers, to get the trucks, to get the tools, to get everything, and you don't even have any calls yet, right? Like, so you have to be able to financially afford that before you just say, I'm going to add on plumbing, oh, I'm going to add on electrical, oh, I'm going to add on solar. Next thing you know, I'm a jack of all trades, and your business is broke.
Yeah.
Right?
What sort of steps did you take to know that you were ready now? Like, why is now the right time to launch that?
Good question.
And so I think part of it, we were acquired in November 21 by the Friendly Group, and they have some pretty strong plumbing companies within that group. And so there's a lot more help there for us. It's not us just figuring it out. So that was part of it. The other part of it is we had to find the right person to manage it, and I'd actually been interviewing for the last 2 years. I found the right guy, right? He finally came in. He'd been running a plumbing shop with 22 trucks, big operation, and he fits perfectly in with who we are, our values, you know, our mission statement. All those things were very, very important to us as well. And he fits. So it's kind of all come together as we've been chasing this opportunity to do plumbing. You know, marketing, Angie's got that handle. We're going to be able to hit this without spending a lot of money. Yes, there's going to be a lot to get trucks and plumbing equipment. And we'll be $100,000 into it easy before we run our first plumbing call. We're okay. You know, it's going to work. So it was really just kind of the combination of all that coming together. We're ready to do it.
Having the right team in place too. Like, there have been other times we've tried to launch different things in our business. We don't have the right team to back it up, right? So I think you got to take all those different things into consideration. We're really ready to launch it. So definitely.
Which also kind of ties into some of those, the failure that you mentioned around being slow to fire. So getting the right team in place, getting the right people in the right seats on the bus, we've had that conversation numerous times on the show. What are you doing now that's different in terms of that firing decision? When is it time that, you know, we need to cut the cord here and sever this relationship, let go of this employee? Because that's a tough decision. It's an emotional decision.
You know, there's hindsight's 2020, right? So I want to say over the years, I feel like you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have done that. Man, I should have done that. But I think over the years, we've also worked with a lot of coaches, we worked with a lot of consultants, we networked with a lot of other contractors, and the knowledge that we've gained, and I want to say the courage that we've gained also, and the confidence that we've gained in that. There's not as much emotion tied to it. I don't want that to sound heartless, but before there was a lot of emotion tied to that, and now it's like, these are the standards, these are the KPIs, this is what we need to meet. Are you willing to do this? We hold them accountable, we do it, or we don't. And it's not us having a worried about the relationship and breaking that relationship with the employee. It's, this is what we need, would you like to be on the team or not? And so, yeah, I think it's just being able to hold that higher level of accountability because of our experience.
Well, do they get it? Do they want it?
Right.
If you follow EOS, get it, want it, get it, GWC, get it, want it, capacity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the marketing part of things, I know we were chatting about this last night too, and you oversee the marketing, but you don't actually do the marketing. And so how do you adequately handle and work with a marketing company?
Yeah. I love my role right now at Western. This is a super fun role. As a marketing director, I've been helping Ryan just identify where the strategy, right? And now that we have the strategy put together, the digital strategy, the direct mail strategy, the branding strategy, the social strategy, all of the different strategies. And then I find people who are good at these strategies. And I hire these people to do this for me. But not just saying, okay, do it, and then walk away. I'm still involved with those different companies that are helping me with these things. I did hire a marketing specialist to come to Western and help us with this as well. And so he's going to help me at making sure everything is executed, but the strategy is there. I'm confident in the strategy, and now we just need to find the best people to help me get this off the ground, because I know if it's done right, the phone will ring and our techs will have calls. So it's exciting. It's a fun part of it.
So how much time and energy are you putting into creating that strategy versus relying on the marketing companies to come up with ideas and bring it back to you?
There's some variables there. Of course, like at the end of the year, as I'm planning for 2023, I spent quite a bit of time putting the strategy together. But once the strategy's there, we execute, and then, once a month I'm going back and I'm looking at results. In fact, weekly, I'm looking at my dashboard. How many leads did we bring in this week? How many of those leads did we book? What was our booking percentage? And because that goes back to my CSRs, and my CSRs are booking at least, well, I have high standards. I like 80 to 90%.
Right.
Some people say, well, that's crazy. No, I expect a lot. We should be booking those leads. And so, are we booking those? And if we are they quality leads? And then where are those phone calls coming from? Which is why I love Service Titan. Another reason that I love that is because I can see exactly where the calls are coming from. If I didn't book them, I can go back and listen to them, and I can coach on that. And so, if my call booking is up, I don't have to spend as much on marketing. So they all kind of play together, right? But yeah, so weekly, monthly, there's a little bit of invested time there. A big chunk on the annual and on the quarterly reviews. But other than that, I maybe 10 hours a week just working with my team members, making sure everything's going on.
So you understand it, you know it, you like it. Now, let's say another business owner who's they're a coach of yours, or they're listening to this, they're like, well, great, I don't understand that much marketing. Let's say they're Ryan, right? So if Ryan didn't have you to handle the marketing, how would somebody go about doing that?
I would look for companies that offer that type of service. There are some great agencies out there that are kind of an all-in-one marketing strategy type company. We use Lemon Seed as part of that for us, and they help us with our email marketing, some of our social marketing, some of our direct mail. But they will help contractors who don't have a strategy. They don't know what their strategy should be. They help you look at your numbers. They help you look at your revenue goals, where you want to go, and determine, all right, let's figure out a budget for you so you know how much to spend. Let's figure out where to spend that, and then let's track it. And then as we track it, we can measure how successful it is, and then we can readjust. And marketing is always readjusting. I mean, you see that on digital all the time. You have to be paying attention to the trends, what's working, what's not working, and jump on to what's working.
last question. We have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to go? You're both going to get the same question. So
Okay.
who's going to get it first? All right. So Angie, yeah. What is one question that you wish people would ask you more but don't?
Okay, let's see. So if anyone ever has taken the DISC assessment, are you familiar with DISC? Okay, so I'm a John Maxwell certified DISC trainer, so I'm really high into this. But I'm in a high I. So if you know people who are high I's, they're very people focused, they're outgoing. They love to talk about their personal life. So I love it when people ask me about my family and my kids, and I love to chat about that. But you have to know who you're talking to, because not everyone is an I, and not everyone loves to talk about that like I do. So I love it when people ask me about my kids. And that was a long answer to
Tell us about your kids.
I'm so glad you asked.
Funny how that works.
So I have 4 kids. My oldest is 22, and then I have a daughter that's 19. They've both moved out. They're going to college. They're both crushing it as adults, and it's been one of those things where I'm glad we did spend the time with our kids, and we still try to get them home and spend as much time with them as we can. And then I have a 16-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter, so we have 2 at home still, and we have a really crazy dog that's a golden doodle that those 2 kids love, and Ryan and I would get rid of it ASAP, but they love it, so it's part of the family.
Golden Doodles are some high energy dogs.
He's a very high energy dog.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
Well, it sounded like a busy household for a little while.
We love it. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, right. What is one question that you wish people would ask you more but don't?
Man, so I'm an introvert, which makes me hard to approach, right? I come across as just don't talk to me, but I actually really like conversations, and I think, for me, operationally, HVAC, there's a lot of companies out there that struggle with just use a conversation, just anything operationally. I mean, we're great at turning ticks at leads, so if somebody's out there wondering, ask me how do we turn ticks at leads, and we'll get all sorts of good information. So.
Ryan, return text at least.
Back to the 4-step process, right? So you got to be consistent, and you really, there's so much into it. You really got to make sure your office is identifying that opportunity number 1. So we went through a tagging system on our calls. You hear so many times, right type, right call. Well, how do you determine what that right call is? And you can get it very, very precise. And so it starts there, and then you have to have the right technician go out there that's going to follow the process of the system, and then they'll turn that lead, and then it's up to the sales to get it done for us. So yeah, that's it at a high level.
Well, we said this on the show numerous times as well. Genius is not taking the simple and making it complex. It's taking the complex and making it simple. Right? I mean, you can boil down a complex process of being able to flip those leads to, well, what are the 4 steps that we have to do on every single call? And make that super simple for everyone to understand, so that they can just go out and do the job and execute. Right? And it goes back to the standards. Right? It's accountable to doing that. So I love it. It's great.
Okay. Well, if anybody wants to get in touch with Ryan or Angie, you can reach out to them at snowbusinesscoaching.com. That's snowbusinesscoaching.com. We have Angie's email, which is Angie@snowbusinesscoaching.com. And I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say that yours is Ryan@snowbusinesscoaching.com.
I think that works. I honestly don't check that one as much as my work email, so Ryan@westernheatingair.com. You can give me a shout out there. I'll get back to you. Or call me 801-885-0985, cell phone number. Happy to talk anytime. A lot of people have helped us out over the years. Love to get them back.
Right? And take them up on that offer. Like, seriously, anybody that's listening, take them up on that offer, because the more conversations you can have with people that are already there, if you're struggling with anything, that means success in these schools, right? So you might as well step on the shoulders of others and ride their coattails to greatness. So, awesome. Well, pleasure. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on the show. It was an absolute treat. And until next time.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, that's a wrap.
on another episode of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. Before you go, two quick things. First off, join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/HVAC Revealed. The other thing, if you took one tiny bit of information out of this show, no matter how big, no matter how small, all we ask is for you to introduce this to one person in your contacts list. That's it. That's all. One person. So they too can unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Until next time, cheers.